Charming, hilarious, and rage-inducing. These were just some of the things that were going through my head as I went through the entire journey that was Octodad.
When I think of indie developers making a game, I think of something really unique, something you can't find elsewhere, whether it be through some heartbreaking or thought-provoking storytelling, or just some pure fun through its gameplay and mechanics. Or, you know, there's that other half that tries its best to rip off the latest trend and it comes out mediocre. Well, in 2010, we got a game that was anything but a rip-off. A small little free-to-play indie title that made us all laugh. And some of us rage. This game was Octodad, a fun adventure starring an octopus disguised as a human. You walk around the house playing with your children, helping your wife, and keeping away from a crazy sushi chef. The end goal of the game was to create a doll to distract your wife so you could escape to the basement. It was a hit. I remember everyone talking about this game when it came out, and a ton of YouTube videos being about this obscure little title, some comparing its controls to Surgeon Simulator. So they formed Young Horses Incorporated and created a Kickstarter for the project, and well, here we are with Octodad, Dadliest Catch, released in early 2014 to critical acclaim. Even more so than the last time, people were loving this game, sharing it all over the web. However, I've never played this game. I've seen some playthrough footage and heard just how hard the game was from the controls.
Yeah! Yes! No! No! Come on!
So I kind of know what I'm getting into. Since its initial release, this game has seen a bunch of re-releases on multiple platforms, like the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Wii U, and more recently, the Nintendo Switch.
This is the version I'll be playing for this game, and first off, I'd like to thank Young Horse Incorporated for sending me a review code for this game. You guys are absolutely amazing. Sorry it took so long. Though all opinions of this game are mine and mine alone, I cannot be bought. I mean, unless it was like $10 million. Anyway.
The story of Octodad starts with a flashback to the day Octodad made the leap from stunning bachelor to loving husband. It's a funny little sequence that gives you a good idea of the game's style of humor and gameplay. This is your tutorial, and it isn't too different than the indie version, except you know it looks better and it feels smoother. Now the first thing I know you guys are going to ask is, what are the controls and how do they feel? Well, I'm glad you asked. You move Octodad's arms with the left and right stick, the left stick going left to right, and the right stick going back and forth. You press the right bumper to grab onto objects like chairs, doors, cups, and you move your legs using the left and right triggers to lift each individual leg, then use the left analog stick to move the leg. It's a lot less complicated than I make it sound. It does take some time getting used to though, but honestly, it didn't take that long. No, that's not where the challenge in this game lies. But we'll get to that in a minute. After the wedding, the game cuts back to the present, and what I'm assuming is sometime after the first game. Hopefully enough time to fix that damn house, because I mean, seriously. This is where the game really begins, and what do you know, we are back to doing mundane tasks around the house. Though I will give this to Dadliest Catch, the game is way more story focused than its predecessor. Everything you do in the game happens for a reason and doesn't feel like a pointless minigame. Well, most of the time. With this type of structure, the game really leans on not just the wacky physics of the Octodad to be funny, but in its dialogue as well. And I'm serious when I say this is one of the most charming and funny games I've played in a while. It's the mentality this game has going full force with its ridiculous nature. I mean, sure, you could have Octodad put up a birdhouse to make his daughter happy, but let's go all out with it. Let's have some fun. Let's be crazy. Let's have that chef come driving through with a ride mower through your fence and try to make sushi out of you. I mean, sure, yeah, the game could have you just grab a pizza out of the freezer, but let's make it interesting. Let's make it fun. Why not have all the doors be frozen, but one, have you climb through the side, get stuck through the vents to reach it? It's stuff like that that gets me cracking a smile every single time. Plus, I just love this guy's family. His sweet little daughter, adventure-seeking son, and his understanding but always curious wife. The story might take a bit of a backseat, but they knew how to keep it engaging enough that I would care. Anywho, let's get back to the plot. It starts out pretty normal. Getting coffee, cooking burgers, holding on for dear life. When all of a sudden, your wife wants to take the family out to an aquarium for a work trip. But Octodad ain't having that. So she's got to trick him to going. It's to the supermarket for everyone in level 3. This level, like most, are pretty straightforward. You're given the objective right at the bottom of every stage. For this one, it's collecting groceries. This is where the dialogue really starts to shine. The speaker's commentary along with the shoppers makes just walking around this stage a delight. So far, it all seems fairly casual until...
Hey, but get away from... Free sushi samples in the back! They are delicious.
Uh-oh... Honestly, this guy will not give up. We don't even know why he's after Octodad other than that he thinks he's weird. This is the first time of an honest challenge in the game where they put this sticky obstacle that you need to wash away, and I actually died here, but tore through it in my second run. After we collect all the groceries, it's off to the aquarium though, and Octodad ain't too happy about that, for a good reason.
Now this is where the rest of the game takes place, so from this point on I'll be talking more about the gameplay.
At this point in the game, they've added a new enemy to avoid. Biologists. If these guys just get a whiff of some tuna, they'll find it. So you need to keep out of their line of sight or that suspicion meter will fill up faster and you will get caught faster than you can say supersized salmon roll. Oh yeah, I haven't even talked about the suspicion meter, have I? Better late than never, I guess. You see, it's hard hiding your true persona, and if you're not too careful, you'll raise suspicion from people by knocking into them, or knocking over objects, or, acting up in front of certain people. It's not really too hard to avoid getting caught unless you, put the game on hard mode, but let's not get into that right now. Once you grab your ticket, you can slip into the aquarium. Or you can head into the bathroom, flush yourself down the toilet for a secret level. This is a freaking hard level that will challenge your will to play and will to live. This is the true test. Asking you, can you truly play the game? How Octo is your dad, bruh? And I couldn't do it. There's a ton of platforming like grabbing ledges, going upstairs, and moving on moving objects. All in this side-scrolling bit that was getting harder as it went on. I made it to the very end, fell through, got angry, and walked out. So go ahead, take the challenge. I dare you. After that little slice of hell, I took a stroll into the aquarium where the true Dark Souls begins. The level is split up into 3 different sections where you can hang out with your wife, daughter, or son. So I chose my son first since he's my favorite. I almost immediately regret my choice. Your son's stage is a gauntlet of challenges. You'll do stuff like finding specific colors on a globe with a time limit, to running on a giant hamster wheel to race some pillars, and that's all well and good, somewhat challenging but manageable. But then we get to the climb. You have to navigate through this tower with some bouncy platforms that will thrust you off the map, and you have to start it all over again if it knocks you out. Now I will admit that they definitely toned this section down from what it was back in 2012. Before there were planks that would break with a handful of obstacles, and according to Markiplier, this was a tad bit...
No! Come on!
Yeah. So it's good to see that they made it a bit more manageable after people complained about it. After this, it was time to relax, check on the wife. And, well, it's another round of minigames. Now, what's cool about this area is that you don't have to do all the minigames, just 7 of them, so you can win some prizes to distract your wife. Sorta like another Octodad game. These are pretty dang hard, really testing your patience at times. My favorites are probably the basketball game because you can do this.
Come on now. The integrity of the game is compromised. These games are for children.
and the Chop Blocker game. After all that's said and done, your wife says to meet you near the shark tanks, so with no other options, I head out to my daughter. And by the way, your daughter's level is the easiest of the 3. You lead her through a dark hallway, step on some pictures, and connect a few lights. Simple, in and out.
Lift your legs up high, Dad! Dad, I can't go up there! I'm not Tommy! I follow the rules!
Now, it's time to meet the wife again. But, surprise! It's the chef, and he slices your clothes off and tosses you into the tank, threatening to tell your family that you're an octopus. Basically ruining your entire life. With nothing he can do about it, he has a flashback to the first time he met his wife. As a stowaway on a ship. Now, I don't want to spoil too much about this level since I think it is one of the most charming levels in the entire game, so we're going to skip it for now. After the flashback, it's time for Octodad to put on the biggest game face in the history of game faces and take down that evil chef once and for all. The next section plays out as 1 part stealth, 1 part stupid arm destruction. Sneak past some guys, then get a disguise and cause some chaos for a distraction to get into the kitchen. Our family is there being tied up and forced to accept the truth that Octodad isn't human. Or at least they would if they didn't think this guy was a few pancakes short of a stack.
He even walk on land.
I'll call the police!
He just does! I'm not crazy!
Clearly.
When all of a sudden you blast in and your family finally comes to terms with the grisly truth, and the final battle ensues. Now this was one of the biggest bugs I had with the game. There weren't a lot of issues I found here, but this one is the absolute worst. During this section you have to run from the chef, which is no problem, but during my run I'm supposed to grab this fish right here. I missed and died. Absolute my fault, okay? However, when the game reloaded the checkpoints, the chef is already moving, so he catches me, and I died, and it had to reload, and it happened again and again and again. So unless you're constantly moving, like you have that trigger head set, and you're moving the instant this game reloads, you're caught, you're dead, you have to go back. It's an issue with the game that needs to be fixed.
And I'm serious, this guy must have grabbed me at least 5 times, and it was all due to this little glitch. It nearly ruined the experience for me. I was getting so mad. But this is something they can patch out. I hope they do. If not, just be perfect on your first go.
After that's done, you gotta walk on some balance beams to get to your daughter, which was pretty intense since some of the planks will fall and that chef is watching you the whole time. Then finally you have to plug up some fountains so it'll build up pressure and then drop the chef for good. In order to accomplish that, you need to slide around some wet floors, and let me tell you, wet floor physics with these controls can go to hell. Also, the chef is throwing stuff at me because he's a jerk. After landing the finishing blow, Octodad forgives him for all of his troubles, and it causes, honestly, a pretty sweet moment.
Right now. You really forgive me? Even for the war?
He finally tells his wife, and it all wraps up in a good laugh.
And my god, that was Octodad. A game that they just knocked it out of the park with its style, story, characters, gameplay, just everything they needed to get right, they got right, and I loved almost every minute of it, and I can't wait to go back for a second playthrough. This is a game that was meant to be speedrun, as you can see from the dev times on the level select. And that is one reason this game is perfect for the Nintendo Switch. You can play this game on the go, beat a level in like 10 minutes, and you're done. However, this game is short, I'm not going to deny that, clearing the main story plus the extra episodes that come with it that are little funny scenarios you can play through. It took me 2.5 hours to beat the game. That is really short. But I would say this is more of a quality over quantity type of thing. So when you pay it for $15, just remember that. You're getting a fun game that you're going to want to go back to again and again, and it also has a great co-op system where you can play as Octodad with each individual limb being played by multiple people, all the way up to 4 players. And that can get pretty hectic at times. I had troubles doing it with 2 people. Although we were laughing the entire way through, so I can't complain. And on top of that, there's still the extra difficulty, there's all the ties you have to collect, so that's how you're going to get your money's worth. So guys, in the end, I'll give Octodad an 8 out of 10. That is my go-to recommendation that you pick up this game. pick it up for the Nintendo Switch. If you don't have a Nintendo Switch, pick it up on your Xbox One or PS4. Even without the portability, this game is great. The portability is just a little extra slice of cake. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and one more time, I want to thank Young Horse Incorporated for tossing me a review code for this game. I know you guys didn't have to do that. You were so nice. And I look forward to any projects you guys have in the future. This blew me away. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.